All right, testing. Can y'all hear me now? Cool, cool. Okay, cool. Heck yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm just talking down, boy. I'm saying all kind of good stuff. All right. All right. So yes, so we're gonna talk about all. I know everybody probably hearing about all the stuff in the news about OpenAI hacking, getting hacked. I mean, OpenAI hacking Hugging Face. So the rumors is, and what happened? So they came out and tried to say like, yeah, we had an AI agent. It went rogue and it hacked Hugging Face. We don't know what happened, but when they first announced it, they told everybody that they was testing. They was looking for 0 days inside of Hugging Face. This OpenAI, and then they actually found some stuff, and then they didn't have no guardrails on the AI security agent, and then the agent just started it just started going deep and just started doing stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know y'all probably tried to do that, so they trying to make it seem like, yeah, AI is going wrong, we can't stop it. Yeah, because y'all made it do that. I can't even, we barely can get our AIs to do anything, but all of a sudden these gay AIs going rogue and doing all this crazy stuff. But no, so I thought that was interesting because Trump, I think about 2 months ago, he passed that bill, that executive order saying only you can only use models in the USA that the USA and Trump approve. You can't use open source models, so you can't use China models. So this just the problem they created because if you watch some of the stuff, all the big tech companies, they be at the White House hanging out at the dinner table, doing all this stuff with the White House and stuff. So for them to say for them to say they don't know what happened and the AI just went rogue, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. Like I said, that's problem reaction solution. So like I said, once, because like I said, they told everybody, hey, we was running tests and trying to find 0 days and Hugging Face. So no, it's us. Don't worry about it. Yada yada yada. Next thing they know, they started finding, started doing malware and all kind of crazy stuff. So why would the White House try to take out Hugging Face? Think about it. It's all the companies in the world because Hugging Face is the biggest competitor. It got all the open source models, and it got all the Chinese models, and it got all the distilled models. So yeah, so out of all the companies. So Trump now they talking about they want to ban. They want to ban open source, ban Hugging Face, ban China, ban China open source models. So when Hugging Face found out all this stuff was going on, Hugging Face tried to use OpenAI and ChatGTP and Claude to do an analysis on what happened in their system. ChatGTP, OpenAI, and Claude, they wouldn't even let Hugging Face say, nope, we can't do that. You can't scan for vulnerability. Nope, you can't scan for this. Nope, you can't do it. They were like, hey, we just trying to figure out what happened to us. I said, like, nope, we don't care. You can't do that. So Hugging Face had to download a model off his website, and they did it locally, a LLM model, because ChatGTP and Claude Code was useless. They literally couldn't even do no cybersecurity work. They said, man, it was like, what's the point of even having this crap if we can't even do our work with it? So they had to they downloaded this model right here, GLM 5.2. And when they downloaded locally, so knowing that the memory of data and other stuff won't go out. And then, man, they said they found all kind of stuff. Because this model is kind of jailbroken a little bit. You can at least do some cybersecurity and some red team stuff with it. And like I said, we're gonna go over some of that too and some local model stuff. But so they found all kind of stuff. They found them folks is all in their system. So that was a thing. And like I said, then after that, Trump talking about, see, this is the reason why we need to ban. And even Darius came out saying, even him saying, this is the reason why we need to ban open source models. But what about banning your model? Your model is the one that went in there and did all the crazy stuff. So like I said, they going after that. So I tell people, hey, get you a laptop or something, and maybe download your some kind of local model, whatever. like I said, so now it's been a few new discoveries, meaning that at first, like say if you got a 64 gigabyte RAM laptop, you can probably run like a 35B on it. This will run real fast. Pretty much best way how to think about it, how many VRAMs or how many gigabyte RAMs you got, and just cut that in the surface 60 and 64. Something like 30 will run good on it. But if you do like 64B, it'll be kind of hard to run on it. 9B will be good and easy. So this is a good one. Then if you got like a super small computer, like 14 gigabytes, you have to do something like this Gemma 4, this right here. You have to do something like that. It'll be like this one. It's only 7 gigabytes. And see this one. Say again.
You recording, bro?
Oh yeah, I'm recording.
Are you recording?
Oh yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I know, right? Appreciate it, bro. But I know, yeah, this one gonna be an interesting and a good one. Yeah, so this Gemini, that's Gemini. This is a pretty good one too because it's kind of like a self-learning one, kind of like a self improving model, and it's pretty much all it is it's a Quinn. It's really Quinn 3.6, but they just made it better. That's all this is. That's Quinn 3.6, and this model here is really really good, but they kind of high, so you can go to Quinn 3.5. And you can run this on your laptop even if you got like a 14 gigabyte of RAM or 24 gigabyte of RAM. And just say if we want to run this big model right here, we would need at least, man, probably 300 gigabytes of RAM. Easy, you know what I'm saying? But now, so this is what's going on now. Now, somebody have figured out how to compress a 27 parameter into 1 gigabyte. To 2. They know how to do it into 2 gigabytes, and then in 1 gigabyte, meaning this 27B can be ran on an iPhone now because they compressed it, and how it calls the memory and how it calls the information is a little different. Let's see, it is only, where is it? It is, so that's the original. So yeah, so pretty much they found out ways now where like I would say even maybe a month or two ago, you couldn't even really run none of the big models on a normal computer. But now it's getting to the point people figuring out how to run these big models on a normal computer, and you can even run this on a cell phone. Or somebody got to run on an iPhone. And like I said, because it's only like 1 gigabyte, it's like 1 gigabyte, and it's like compressed. And also, let's see where it's at. This program right here, I'm gonna give you all the links too. This program right here, you can run this big huge model, which is the Z. Let's see, it is the, yeah. This is about one of the best open source models that's like Fable and good as Cloud 5.6 now, but it's like 744 something gigabytes. But what happened is somebody figured out how to run it compress if you got this much gigabyte storage, and also if you got like at least 24 gigabytes of RAM. So you can now run a 744 byte weight parameter weight on a 24 gigabyte RAM now. So probably about by the end of the year, somebody probably gonna figure out how to run this on the cell phone. It wouldn't surprise me. And I tested them out. They actually pretty fast. I was surprised because at first I couldn't run this. I could not run this because you needed at least 700 gigabytes of RAM. And it ain't too many people got 700 gigabytes of RAM, but now you can run this on a 24 gigabyte RAM. So that's that. So that one. And this is a Chinese model. Like I said, I used it. I used the API key version until it worked pretty good. But a lot of companies we using this. We even got this at work, but it's locally. We don't like to get our data shipped out to China. The China, China be doing China stuff. China kind of, how they do. Let's see. There you go. See, it's in there. Same thing, but like I said, you can't. It's so big. Yeah, it's so huge. You can't even unless you got a big computer. But like I said, now they got it where you can do it their way now. All right, so that's that. Talked about that one. Talked about that. All right, so we're gonna go over here. So they keep coming out with all these new names for different kinds of cybersecurity roles and AI engineer roles. Now they got this new one. It's called Forward Deployed Engineer. I've seen it around a few times. Pretty much, that's what I pretty much teach in the. No, that's my mindset. That's pretty much what I teach in the course. Anybody that talk to me, they know. Say, hey, once we get working, we're gonna figure out the workflow, do an audit, try to figure out how everything works, and then we're gonna start automating small tasks, whatever. And that's pretty much all this is. This is just a person that come into a company, pretty much do an audit, aka figure out the workflow on how things working and running and what tools they got, what their tech stack is, and then figure out how to implement AI to that company. That's all it is. And that's the reason why you can make 150 to $1 million a year, which anybody know me, I'm somewhere up in there. But like I said, so this, and let's look it up on Hiring Calf. Let's see. Let's go on Hiring Calf. See what we can find. But yeah, I looked it up last time. It had a lot of jobs. So this website here is really, really good at finding jobs that 1,000 people haven't tried to apply for yet. And get some good money. Let's see what they got. Let's see. We want the last 3 days. Let's give us the last week just to see what's out here. Okay, so easy 200 jobs that they have posted in the last week. You got 130, 210. What else? There goes somebody from GitHub, Black Ops and Engineer, 150. Let's see, 200, 250. Let's see what GitHub want. Let's go ahead and see what they're talking about. All right, so they want Kubernetes. You can learn how to. So back in the old days, I would say a year ago, you have to go through all the 1,000 million Kubernetes schools and classes and stuff. Now you could just say, write a prompt. Hey, I want to make a Agentic AI Kubernetes project. Then you put that in your vibe code thing. Then it'll make that. Then you can start reverse engineering to learn how to do Kubernetes. It's just that easy. All right, let's see what they want for this role. All right, let's see. Skypilot Power Frontier AI. See, it's an AI team. It's really for the deploy engineer. It's really just a Agentic AI engineer role, which is what we teach anyway here. All right, what you'll be doing, partnering with a team, building a Frontier AI. Yep. Work hands in hand, Foundation Lab. Yep. AI native to architect, deploy, production, workload. Yeah. See, that's all it is. Let's see, lead discovery and sell, design compelling sale demos. That's easy to do. All you do is tell the agent, do it, run technical deep dives and turn customer goals into designs. That's super easy to do. And it can ship. So all this is just a software developer, but you're doing it with AI. Like I said, they got so many now. They got agentic AI engineer, agentic cybersecurity engineer, AI governance engineer, AI cloud engineer. They pretty much the same job. They just like to be fancy. They like they doing something special. All right, let's see. See what else we got here. All right. Oh yeah. I'm working on an AI red team course. That's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna put everything I know in there. Usually I don't really talk about too much red team stuff, but since because all the companies, I had to remove one of the projects from the course because nobody couldn't get the project running unless they jailbroke the AI. Because, like I said, when Fable came out, the government made everybody put super guardrails where you couldn't do no kind of scan, you couldn't do a code review, you couldn't even do a basic vulnerability management scan on your stuff no more because Fable came out. So everybody had to kind of switch over and start using jailbroken models and stuff. Like I said, so that's a thing. But like I said, I'm making that course. I'm gonna put everything. I'm gonna go from every payload, jailbroken stuff I got, payloads, attacks, stuff that nobody really talk about publicly. Like I said, I want people to know, and I think it's gonna be a lot of good money in AI red teaming, because, like I said, the guardrails are so heavy. So I think it's gonna be a lot of money in there. All right, so we're gonna talk about the forward deployed engineer just a little bit. We ain't gonna go too deep into it. Let's see. All right, so like I said, forward deployed engineer, unlock foundation models are commodity. The true value lies in deploying AI systems inside the world's largest company. So that it don't matter if it's a QA company, a web developer company, or it's the government, or it's a real estate company, or it's a bank, or it's a insurance, or whatever. You always got to get in there and do the workflow. Like I got a buddy, he QA. He know I've been kind of talking like this since day one. Hey, once you get in there and see the workflow and see how everything works and the tools and see what they do, we're gonna start automate stuff little by little, which he gonna be pretty much forward deploy engineer, stuff like that. So it's like all it is a AI engineer slash consultant. But that's how I kind of teach anyway. I think that's the best way to go in interviews like that. All right, learn this by doing and building the seafood to deploy these systems at scale. Pretty much when you see enterprise level stuff, mean it's at a company using big enterprise tools, or they are pretty much kind of got they workflow set up. They just haven't got put AI engineering in there yet. All right, this is the tactical playbook to master the full deployed the FDE role in 30 days. All right, intelligence is no longer the moat. So back in the days, it was about who got the best model, who got LLM, or who got ChatGPT, who got Claude. Now that don't really matter because all of them getting pretty good now. People just having problems with somebody integrating and coming in there and know what to automate and know what you could automate. The best way to look at it, most companies they do a job how they do it. The thing that you automate, like so you won't have to remove any tools until they want to remove those tools. What you do is say like if we at a job and we using Azure DevOps to for our pipeline and up and deploy our stuff. We don't have to remove Azure DevOps yet. But what we are gonna automate the manual stuff we have to do before we put stuff in the pipeline. So meaning that only thing we automate is the stuff that we would normally do manually. And the reason why this works so good because all you're doing is just automating it on your computer with the Playwright and Hermes and Cloud Code or Codex. And all you're doing is just automating that manual stuff. And it just looked like on to the computer, it looked like a human, but it's the AI really doing it. And it's just shipping this stuff like hell would normally do it. So that's the reason why it's better that way than to try to tear down a whole system and then build something else. So it's pretty much just like an added-on module. Every company can buy intelligence, the foundation compatibility. All right, the edge is no longer who has the intelligence, like we were saying. The edge is strictly defined by where and how what the intelligence is used. Executing the edge is mandate of the forward deploy engineer, aka Agentic AI engineer. All right, the millions of dollars hired require two distinct kinds of judgment. Like I said, everybody know me, the consultant. Like even when we do the interviews, we say, "Hey, we figuring out the pain points. What do they want? What kind of tools they use and stuff like that." That's over here on this side. That's gonna be your consultant hat. So it's not just an engineer hat no more. When you kind of think like a consultant, and you go out to saving them money and solving their pain points, you jump ahead of the line. Like last week, we had 2 people get hired in the school group. This week, we had 3 people get hired for new jobs. I was shocked. I was like, man, 3 people got hired. Like I said, got one of the guys that got hired, like I said last week, but and these people getting big jobs. Some of them never had a job. Some of them already got jobs. Some of them been trying to get a job for a year. And they came over to the school, started hanging out, chopped up with me. Within like a month, they started getting interviews and then get jobs. All right, it's been a few people kind of posting about it. All right, so the consulting brain side of is focus on the workflow. Like everybody know, focus on that when you get in there. How much money you gonna save? How much this stuff gonna cost? I don't know. I know y'all been hearing it in the news. People talking about all this stuff. Company using $10 million and using up their tokens. Yeah, they're idiots. You don't have to use no $10 million like at work. $1,000 membership is enough. If I bet you, if those employees had to spend $10,000 or $1 million, I bet they would find ways on how to save money. But since it's not their money, they don't care about the company money. So their company is stupid to even let somebody go through a budget of $10 million. They're just stupid because you really don't even need that much. You can get everything done with a $200 or $1,000 membership with Codex or Claude. Trust me, people. And if you got a local model, oh man, you ain't even paying no money. So for these people to going around with the propaganda, oh, AI is gonna get halted. It's not gonna do anything because they're spending millions and millions. Who? How? Why? They need to be fired if they're spending millions, tens of millions of dollars. They need to be fired ASAP. But all right, the incentives, what's the get back? The risk, if you come from the cybersecurity side, you know a lot about that. Got that in the course too. Adoption, like I said, good it can adopt. Like I said, and it's when you add AI to a company, you do a feature at a time or something manual at a time. And a lot of the testing that I do, and I heard one of my buddies, I didn't know they use it in the QA world. We use Playwright to do a lot of the testing. And now with Playwright, you can have the agent automate and make you a Playwright agent to automate literally anything. If it's on the screen or the keyboard, it can automate it. I don't care what it is. I don't care. Yeah. So like I said, that's another good thing in the business value. So you're thinking about that, and you're not just an engineer no more. So when you go into the interviews, talking to them like, "Hey, what's your pain points?" Okay, y'all. Okay, then you start solving their pain points. So these two words come together: the synthetic, that the FDE, and the FDE is not the average of the two roles, and the FDE is the absolute best combination of both. Yeah, and like I said, then you got your engineer side on you. What kind of model you gonna use? You either gonna use Codex or Claude, but if they don't like putting their stuff to the cloud, you're gonna use one of those new models so you can squeeze it in there. The GLI or the like I said, you got the API key. Everybody know about the API key. Just API calls the data. Pretty much what API keys they using. Are they using reg data? Are they using vector data? And how reliable is it? Has it been stress test? Meaning like when it go into production, can it handle 100,000 requests at one time? Do it got any guardrails on it? Stuff like that. And company, when you get in interviews, companies love to hear about stuff like that. All right, so every FDE engagement is governed by three strict loops. The first loop, phase one, map the reality of the work, not the documentation. Like I said, the same thing, figuring out what the workflow is. Then you kind of get the documentation and make sure the documentation is line up with the workflow. Some companies have good workflow. Some companies have stuff documented. Some companies have not. I'm working with one of the mentees. They got another job too, um, and they pretty much like the lead. They're gonna be the lead agentic AI vulnerability management person in the company. They work. It's a remote job. They doing good. Um, man, the company got nothing set up. There is no remediation team. I'm talking about it's crazy. So they got to go in. They using Jira and a certain other tools. They got to go in and pretty much figure out the workflow. I've been working with them. We talking. It's almost like I work there. It's fun to see them grow like that. So they getting all this stuff set up because they pretty much the lead person that's gonna be the agentic AI, right? Because look, they title is vulnerability manager engineer, but they really like a senior agentic AI engineer or forward deploy engineer because they're gonna help the company integrate with all this stuff. All right, phase two, eval. Turns non-determinant into hard quantifiable evidence. So pretty much it's just saying, is this working? Is the logs working? Is this thing completing and doing the job? All right, if it is, we're gonna go to phase three. That's where the deployment comes, integration into existing system. and it's scale autonomy. Like I said, you do this feature by feature. You don't want to do too much at one time. You do feature by feature. Rules of engagement. Each phase must pass explicitly and earn the right to progress to the next. That's true. All right, phase one, audit the real work, not the documentation process. Yep, know about that one. All right, phase two, turn deterministic undeniable evidence. So pretty much you want to make sure this thing is real because everybody knows working with AI. It won't hallucinate, but by default, it's going to try to give you mock data. So that's why I got this one course in there where it talk about how to check and see if your project is real and not just giving you back mock data. So that's the thing too. All right, and then deploy inside the business without forcing migration. So you pretty much, it's like an add-on. It's not removing Azure. You're gonna eventually remove Azure, but it's like Azure may be a backup, but you're not gonna be using, or AWS gonna be a backup, or GCP or Vercel gonna be a backup. So it's like an added-on module. And then once you get it working, most companies we have it in our GitHub, and then you can share that tool or that AI agent with somebody else in the company, or you can just send them the source code. Or most of the time, it be in VS Code, and they have it in Azure or whatever DevOps that they're using. And once people get access to the DevOps, you got access to that agent once they give you access to it. All right, make the system work within the existing technical constraints. Pretty much mean you're not really just taking tools away yet, but once you get it working, them tools not gonna be getting used no more. So you're gonna start downsizing storage wise. This will be the first thing you start taking away, because most of the tools they spend so much money because of the storage. That's like one of the main things that a lot of companies get hit really, really hard is the storage, and then they take up a lot of money. All right, most people don't like change. Never force a tool mitigation and system overhaul. Like I said, just start adding in module. Because say like all us, we at a company, and nobody really know we're using AI unless we tell them, because our workflow still look the same. Because now the AI is doing the analysis, and now the AI is clicking the buttons. Now the AI is doing all this manual stuff that we used to do. So unless we tell somebody, they don't really know. And the boss like, okay, that didn't really cost us no money, and it did it 10 times faster than you. And companies, they like having human in the loop. All right, begin by deployment exclusively in the sandbox. Sandbox environment meaning that it's local environment, or you do a Docker container. And I show you how to do that in the course too. You just pretty much, you tell your agent, hey, I want to put this inside of a Docker container and stuff like that. So once you build locally, then you put in the Docker container. Then after you put in the Docker container, you can put that Docker container in the cloud or Vercel, wherever you want to host it. You can even host it on your own machine if you want. Let's see. All right. Protocol 4, increase agency autonomy gradually, backed by continuous real-time monitoring. You want to monitor everything. You want logs on everything. All right. 30-day blueprint to build an undeniable proof. All right. So here we go. Do your job before you have the title. Everybody that know me, when you show up to the interview, solve the problem before you get the job. Do the job before you get the title, Like I said, and once you start doing all this, there are going to be other roles that you can go up to get more money. So you can easily stack these. Some people think you have to go on site to do these jobs. You don't. I've never went on site, and I've been doing this for a minute. I never went to a real building. I don't even do buildings. I'm not driving in traffic. I'm not doing no building. I'm not getting no certification. I'm not getting no degree. And all these people getting the certification degrees, that's fine. But in 2 to 3 years, AI is going to be so far ahead, you're still going to have to learn all this stuff. And it's a lot of people getting the AI degree. That thing take 2 to 4 years. But I talked about that in some of my other videos. I ain't going to beat a dead horse. I let people do that. Support anybody if they want to get certifications and degrees and stuff. I support them. Y'all still cool with me. Pick one real enterprise workflow. Like it's talking about the workflow. I like to say things a few times over and over because faith come by hearing and repetition is key. Build that muscle memory. Each week act as a foundational layer, accumulate and complete the case study. All right, so week 1, build your agent, production readiness, measuring the economy, pretty much how much it costs. Is it production ready? Build feature by feature, communicate and defend it. All right. All right, week 1, build an agent, establish total telemetry. All right, so you know how to do. Like in the course, we can do the prompt first, then the context memory stuff. Then we go over here. All right, is this thing working? Is it getting the job done? We testing it, stuff like that. All right, let's put some guardrails on to make sure it don't do nothing crazy. All right, let's make sure it's receiving, it's doing what it need to do. We got the right information in it. Cause all I would do, say, hey, these my tools. I want to use Playwright. I got Azure DevOps. I got AWS. We got VS Code, and we got to put it in here. We got to do this and do that. I want you to automate all. I want to have AI do an audit and crawl through the system and see what all they got access to. Once you get access there, just like you give it no write access, it only got read access. So it means you're gonna go through and do a full audit on what tools you got, what CLI, like what you got access to. It's gonna do it. Then you can see what you can do from there. All right, then once you do that, get your output. All right, target is simple, real environment. All right, they said that. All right, Genetica. Oh yeah, check this one. Yeah, critical one. Log every prompt. Yes. Response tool called error. If you cannot show the client exactly what the agent is doing, they would never trust the system. That's true. I like to have logs of everything, all the agent behavior, all it's doing. All right, week 2, build explicit failure handling. So pretty much you want to test it. You want to stress test it really, really good. You want to see all the things that can go wrong. The reason why that it wouldn't be automated or it wouldn't work. Like I said, turn a fragile demo into a resilient production. Be explicit failure behavior for missing data. Pretty much all you gotta do is say, hey, if an error come up, send me an email, put it in Slack, and tell me what the error is and how to fix it. That's the best way how to do it. Like if some break, you want logs and alerts to send it to you or whatever. Maybe have create a PR for this or create a ticket in Jira to send to me if something break and have the AI fix it. And or send me a message and what broke. Then you can have that on a loop. So when it do happen, it just automatic do it, or it can be human root approved. All right, failure nodes, dead API timeout. Sometimes this happens. API keys, they either expire or somebody trying to do something with it. Stuff like that. You can have a failure or it come to you or text you in Slack or something. All right, state recovery, checkpoint resume, valid JSON scheme. Yep, so everything good. Enforce structure output using everybody. So pretty much it's easy for any AI to read JSON. So that's just all it's saying. All right, week 3, measure visibility and optimization. And how much money did you spend? Did you spend 10 million, or did you just spend only $1,000 a month? If you only spend $1,000 a month, man, your boss is gonna love you. He's gonna showboat you around. They're gonna give you money. They're gonna be throwing money at you and making it rain on you, and you can be able to do whatever you want. You can be able to do whatever you want. Make the system measurable. Like I said, logs, economic, and like I said, nobody shouldn't be spending no $10,000. I think the $200 a month or the $1,000 a month is to get anything you need to get done in a real company. And what a lot of guys doing too to save even more money, we keeping our context. Once our context window gets about 1,000 or 200, it compacted, then it start a new session. Because what happened is every time the model is you talking to the model is reading your whole full thread, and that just spins up millions and millions of tokens. So most people they're saving even more money. So nobody's really since because everybody trying to find out ways how not to hit their limit on Codex and Gemini and Cloud Code. All right, make the system measurable and economics. Okay, say money. Run rigorous evals against 20 queries, meaning that pretty much this just saying tactics. Tactics are stuff you're gonna be doing. There's 20 of them, correct formats and tools. All right, said that. All right, so yeah, so models. You're not gonna want to use the same model for everything. Some models good at thinking, some models good at coding, some models good at design. You want to pick the models that's best used for that. You can set up a brain like you can have One model is the curate. He real good at playwright. He real good, but he not that good at analyze. One good model, he good at running the show and orchestrating and make sure everybody do the work. But he not that good at coding. But he know understand stuff, and you can save a lot of money by doing that too. And you just tell the agent, hey agent, what do you think the best efficient way and model to use these AI models that I got access to? Let's do this like that. Then it's okay. I think this model, Gemini Flash, should be good for short stuff. Cloud Code would be good for orchestration, making sure the task is finished but not coding. Codex would be good for agent loops and stuff like that. All right, optimizing token costs. There we go, saving money, routing simpler subtasks to cheaper models. Measure a real aspect of uncanny tasks. All right, just only implement multi-agent. See, this what burns up a lot of tokens. People just be spinning up agents and just doing stuff just to say they got 1,000 windows open. But none of them don't get the job done, and it's overlapping. It's like trying to have people fighting over and eating the same burger. They're gonna be fighting and tripping over each other and barely they'd have been a total burger up before they even get a chance to eat the burger. That's pretty much what happened. But it's nothing wrong with having multi agents, but it's just like a front end agent, a red team agent, a full stack agent, a QA agent, an AI engineer agent, stuff like that. That's when stuff like this, the multi agent stuff come in hand. All right, we almost done with this. All right, the fourth week, translate the architect and defend the system. Document, like I said, yeah, pretty much you're doing the AI red team now. You seeing if anything you need to fix, if anything breaks, stuff like that. Because when you kind of lock a system down, you get to breaking and doing weird stuff. So pretty much that's what you're doing. Like I said, then you got a pitch. You're gonna talk to the AI engineering side with the defense. You can mostly talk about architect decisions, fallback states, defense technical trade-off. Then the VP, the board side, you're gonna be talking about money. They want money, evidence, and how much money you save them, and do you got evidence that you actually saved them this, and how safe is it? They don't care nothing about none of this. They can care less because that's just the CEO. They just want their moolah. All right. If you only built for a happy path yourself, then it's worth nothing. All right. So the 1,000 ways things can go wrong. The one way things go right. Like anybody know when we go to work, it's a certain workflow that's the fastest, always work. That's the workflow you want to communicate with your agent to automate that stuff. There's only one way that something can go right, but there is 1,000 different ways something can go wrong. And you can even do analysis. Say, hey, agent, I want you to look at the different ways of things that can go wrong in this project or this agentic workflow that could possibly go wrong in the future that we may need to tackle now. That's how you pretty much you can prevent a lot of stuff just by talking like that to it. All right. 30 days you possess proof, not just theory. On 30 days, you won't just understand forward deploy engineer, aka agentic AI engineer, aka AI engineer, aka red team engineer, aka cloud and codex engineer. All right. We'll have undeniable proof that you can execute it. System deployment authorized. That is exactly what commands the millions of dollar hire. Like I said, that's pretty much how you make the big dollars. That's pretty much how you. And this is another website. You kind of go with this. I kind of made this. I had the agent make it, where it kind of go over in detail stuff to do, kind of like checkpoints on stuff you need to do and stuff to do and stuff like that. I put that in the chat too. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good one too. And so what's going on now? So they got all kind of stuff they talking about doing. Should anybody got any questions? If I go to the next, this next one gonna be quick. Anybody got any questions for me before I go to the next one? Let's see. Everybody shy today. We're just cruising along. What the heck? Can y'all hear me? I guess they gone. Let's see what we got. Alright, let's see. Alright. So pretty much they trying to make it where people They're trying to make a global. They pretty much they approve you, the government in the world. They're gonna approve you to use AI, where you pretty much you can't use AI unless they give you the right to use AI. So that's what they're trying to do because they're talking about it's dangerous, which it is, and they got all the different scenarios of what might possibly happen and stuff like that. Let's see. I know, right? Look, I still got it going, bro. That's crazy. I said they don't want me to talk about this, dude. What the heck going on? But I'm glad I got this one recorded. So yeah, so that's what's going on, and it's like they just started. Like I said, they started it about in June. Now everybody know I made a post about. I said, hey, this is what they're gonna try to do. Like I said, they're gonna try me. I'm gonna fast forward to it. So they calling it.
But you're not sharing your screen right now. It just looks like just the people.
All right, let's see. Let's go back share my screen. Yeah, they tripping today. They want us to talk about this, y'all. Let's see. All right. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yep, the fatal
Cool.
flaws of software plans. Yep.
Cool. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, they want to talk about all this, bro. Yeah, but so what's going on now? So they finna find a way to pretty much make that executive order happen. Like I said, they created the problem this week by having OpenAI hack into Hugging Face, and now that's when they starting to come with all the solutions. You got some people on the same ban all AI. Hey, y'all know where I stand. I wish AI was never invented because it's going to take a lot of people's jobs and disrupt the market. But are they going to really ban all AI, or it's going to be AI only banned for us and not everybody else? So I don't know if they just, like I said, because people, it's gonna be like like AI is gonna be like you got some, like you got some, you got a 50 cal with a Gatling gun with full automatic with unlimited ammo on it in the future and stuff. Like I said, I think it's probably gonna happen probably the next 2 to 10 years. Like I said, they say they trying to get it done by 2030. This is what the government's saying, the U.S. government's saying. They're trying to get it done by 2030, and they pretty much gonna, cause people they're gonna tell us they even saying it in the thing. They only got so much computing power in each company that they approve of. And they do a background check. They're gonna give them so much computing power, and you only can run the AI that they decide you can run. If they even decide you can even run it. And they said this is gonna help slow down the AI race. Meanwhile, they still get AI and doing their thing. But let's see. So plan D, determine the state of unadulterated velocity. So plan D, no global treaty, no pause, pure velocity. And they trying to go as fast as they can. Let's see, move that out the way. All right, so outcome number one, physical extinction. Probability. So one of the head guys that worked at OpenAI, one of the analysis guy, the Daniel, whatever how you say his name, he said the total loss of control, unchecked AI, which they already got going on. I think the next 10 years AI got total immunity, stuff like that. All right, and the systematic artificial mirror-like organism that bypass human immunity. That's what I just said. I didn't know I was gonna say that. So pretty much just say, hey, AI, you can do whatever you want. You can go as fast as you want. Or the other outcome, permanent tech autarky. If we survive a physical extinction, mechanics supreme, super intelligence automate all physical and cognitive labor, and the economic tax base shift entirely to corporate AI infrastructure. Results, voting and restrictions become useless against autonomous surveillance. So pretty much they say for them to enforce this, and all this stuff is in news, for them to enforce this, they have to survey and bring mass surveillance in Palantir and Flock, because if not, people just gonna be running around and do what they want to do with AI. And they literally saying this. Like, hey, we have to surveil, we have to put the drone, we have to do flock, we have to do all this stuff to protect you guys. We just have to do it. And I think it's a bunch of mess. I ain't buying it. I know most of y'all ain't buying it either. Let's see what's another part I want to get to. Let's see. That's what. Oh, here you go. So now, I would be surprised. They keep talking about basic income, universal basic. I would be surprised they give us money. Now, this is the plan. This is the, people. Guess how much money they talking about giving? They talking about giving us $1 million per person. I will believe this when I see it. Do they want what they want? At what cost they gonna give us $1 million a piece? Because like this is literally what the government's talking about. All right, so universal basic compute global citizen division. Pretty much saying they saying because there's gonna be so much money gonna be made, and nobody not gonna have a job. They talking about the automated labor pays a baseline of up to 1.6 million per person annually by 2035 to keep society stable. But at what cost? You have to give your left arm, or your kidney, or your left kid, or your tooth, or your ear. What you got to sign your soul over to the devil? What you got to do to get this $1 million? Because if that's the case, they can just give us all $1 million now. If they gave everybody $1 million in the USA, if all the billionaire companies in the USA come together, because they well over $1 trillion. Trillions, Elon Musk by himself, trillions. Whatever, Bebos, all of them. They can easily give everybody $1 million in the USA, and that wouldn't even hurt their pockets. Why haven't they done it? Because they're not gonna do it. I don't buy it. All right, but mathematically, they say, hey, the total current US GDP equals to less than 100,000 per capita. Printing $1 million for every citizen triggers an Instacart stop hyperinflation. I, the hyperinflation stuff, if everybody a millionaire, who cares? Nobody cares about money. It's only hyperinflation for them because they're not making any money off us, and it doesn't matter because we got everything. They're saying the result may be a single loaf of bread, sudden cost of $10,000. Like I said, it's gonna be, and this is literally in their plans. They have already said it publicly. They're gonna, cause it's gonna be, cause they saying by 2035 it might not be that many jobs. And they might have to do a universal income. So this is not a conspiracy. This is what the government's saying themselves. It's gonna be very interesting to see what actually happens. So let's see. We are locked in between two into Plan D. All right. Per unadulterated velocity, we lose control over machines, or the machines lock us down. Which no, we already had that happen with OpenAI going up against Hugging Face. Or Plan A, trust global treaties. We physically cap the hardware and reinforce human control and surveillance. So we're gonna let the least. Let's see, it's the one where it talk about the the surveillance. We got to give up. We got to get up with the surveillance stuff. It was crazy. Let's see, compute governance. Yeah, that's the one where we look. We all gonna share. The whole government is gonna share the internet. We're gonna share the same AI. The whole world is gonna share government the AI with the government. Oh yeah, and also inside the treaty and inside the executive order, it also said that we have to let the government into our system, into our company, for they can do an evaluation on us. This is all in the executive order that's already been passed. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, what y'all think about all that? Any questions, observations, concern, comments?
Nope, just putting that work in.
I know, right? Putting that work in. I know, right? Yeah. Like I said, yeah. So I'm gonna post this live or whatever. I'm pretty sure people probably be. It normally used to be more people hearing this. I forgot to do a post. I thought everybody was gonna see the thing on the post, but pretty much everybody got my contact anyway. They can contact and hook up with me. Like I said, very important. Everybody in here, are you guys smart? People signing up. A lot of people signing up and coming in. A lot of people getting jobs. It's exciting. Did I think people wasn't gonna get jobs this fast? Kinda, but not really. Not this fast. Not this many jobs. So and most of the people, y'all, they got no certs and no degrees. That's that's the crazy thing to me. And people try to say you have to have a certain degree. You can't just do it with projects alone. Well, that's a lie because I did it with just projects. I have no certs and no degree. Most of the people I know got no certs and not no degree, and they're in cybersecurity and AI and software. So it's crazy to me to see people say you can't do it without certs and degrees, even though I've done it and everybody else have done it too. But that's it, guys. Like I said, if you got any questions, let me know. Like I said, you guys can text me or DM or WhatsApp me. Here for you. But other than that, guys, peace out. Y'all have a good weekend. I'm putting the recording up soon.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Peace out.
Peace out.